Hello, listeners, and welcome to another episode of A Geek Tragedy. I'm Steve, known online as Plague Mantle for various reasons, and I am your host. And we're live at Fantasy Forest with a real live audience in front of us. It's all very exciting. But I'm joined by my wonderful best friend and
the most erudite human you've ever met, Holly properly.
that's the one, most erudite human I've ever met.
Well, you know what they say, if you want something done properly, I have to do it myself.
But
Very clever.
Thank you, thank you.
how you doing, Holly?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm absolutely fucking knackered.
It's been a long week.
It has been a long week, absolutely.
We're here now.
We are.
What's the favorite thing you've seen so far?
Oh, the guy cosplaying Wallace in the wrong trousers. It's just epic.
I haven't seen that.
It's so cool.
He stopped, but he was struggling.
He was like any kind of small incline and he's just gone.
Yeah,
he's like, oh, this is so hard. Yeah.
I've seen some guy with 2 foam buckets on his feet.
Yeah,
oh,
I've
by
seen
the way,
him too.
I'm Mark.
I was about to say,
Because I haven't been introduced. Hello.
To introduce the salvage man himself, our crafter par excellence, Mark Caudry, not in the shed this week. How you doing?
Hey, no, I'm in my favourite place. I'm in the Apocalypse, and the Apocalypse is always a nice, relaxing place for me to hang out in and dress in silly costumes.
Well, what's the most exciting thing you've seen so far?
I think the most exciting thing I've seen so far is how good the wasteland area at Fantasy Forest looks. I think we've got the best looking.
Oh man, I should have
Zone.
said that. I should have said that.
Yeah, you're going to kick.
No,
I am.
we
I'm
can
absolutely
edit that
gonna
out later,
yeah.
and you can say it.
Yeah. Oh, and
Yeah.
also, just because otherwise I'll get told off if I don't. How are you, Stephen?
We don't care how he is. Look at him. Look at him.
No, I'm all right. As like everyone else, I'm a bit tired from wandering around today, but I'm having an excellent time. And the most impressive thing I've seen were those giant steampunk engine rolling around the place.
Oh yeah, those.
Oh yeah,
and
those as well.
So
Yeah.
I've got a video of that, so we can clip that into the.
Yeah, for
to the-
sure.
the
That was
bottom there.
epic.
They were amazing.
Yeah.
They're definitely the best thing I've seen so far.
Yeah.
Other than us.
I think they reminded me of La Machine, the French company that do the giant puppets, like the Sultan's Elephant.
Yes.
Oh, those guys.
Ariadne.
Yeah.
They're just gorgeous, and they were dramatic and beautiful and glorious.
So I do apologise straight away for our listeners. There's a lot of music going on. We're at a live show. You know, there's music on 3 or 4 stages going off in the distance, and we're only on a very tiny stage. We're
It's more
a
of a
very
step,
tiny
really.
audience. Thanks, audience, for coming along. Thank you. You're all wonderful. Hopefully there'll be more tomorrow. We can kidnap some.
Yeah, well,
Proper wasteland style. But yeah, so for the last couple of weeks, we have been talking about the transition of things like stories through different media. As you well know, last week we got to chat to the Molinarius guys. They were pretty cool. We enjoyed them.
They were good?
We enjoyed them. And we got to ask them the questions about why they became geeks. We might actually ask some of the audience members this question in a bit. If they're up for it. I mean, there's hundreds of them out there. You know, we might find 1 or 2 out there that want to answer these questions. You never know.
that one over there looks like a likely lad. Yes, don't be shy.
He's shaking
committed.
his head.
It's all right. He can't run away. He's
A
got too
lot.
much heavy armour on.
committed
He's
separately,
buggered.
Anyway, yeah, so we're talking about those sort of things, but we're kind of obviously we're here, so we're going to talk about post-apoc stuff while we are here. If the audience have any questions from Mark, mostly because he made all the kit, we're sitting around there looking wonderful, then they can ask. One of them is gobbling away over there in the corner, laughing into their beer. But yeah, so we're going to talk about post-apocalyptic stuff to start off with. One of the big points that we wanted to chat about were, well, we've watched a lot of post-apocalyptic stuff in the build-up to this, to the festival. We've read bits and pieces. One of the things that really bothered me a lot, was that a lot of things advertise themselves as post-apocalyptic. We're basically just dystopian. What's the difference, Ollie?
So, I mean, I'm not the expert, obviously, but when it comes to things like words, but for me, it's the whole idea is that dystopian has kind of a slow burn, like you fall into a dystopian future. So that can be like a change of government, for example, that like derails work that has been done, leading to, you know, terrible social situations for lots of people, whereas a post-apocalyptic environment is one that has a definitive trigger point and a definitive kind of active trigger point. So you're looking at things like extreme climate events or nuclear fallout or, you know, like
Zombie apocalypse.
The zombie apocalypse. If something has a trigger point, things like like a pandemic as well, for example,
Yeah.
that has a trigger point. Anything with that active trigger point becomes post-apocalyptic. If it just slowly derails itself into that,
If
then
it's
yeah.
a collapse, a gradual collapse of services, industry, social support structures, and all of that.
Yeah, so you see that's exactly what I meant.
dystopian.
Yeah.
But if it all happens all at once, suddenly, because of an external force, boom, apocalypse.
Yeah, 100%.
At least that's our thoughts.
How, like, a good example of the Dystopian movie that claims to be post-apocalyptic is Vesper, which is a film Mark and I quite enjoy it. But it only kind of hints at the fact there was an apocalypse. It says at the beginning, civilization has fallen, blah, blah, blah. But it's not really. Mark, you described it really well, I guess, when we were talking about it.
I just think it's Vesper. If you haven't seen it, it's lovely, self-contained little post-apocalyptic. You're never quite sure what the apocalypse is, but you think it's kind of biological. It's plant life has some of it's become sentient, almost aggressive, and people are living in a very changed environment. Although there's hints that there are people living in luxury in these walled cities, which you never get to see. But
It's a great aspect, isn't it?
yeah, it is. I think it's a beautiful little film. Really, really nice atmosphere to it. And it just deals with an apocalypse on a small individual level. It's just one kid surviving in this world and just exploring this world. And it's an exploration of that world, which I think is really interesting for me. Yes.
Say hi.
So the man with the walkie-talkie on. Hello, say hello to our podcast.
Hey, podcast.
Yeah,
This is
your
Will the
name
purple
is?
shirt.
Your name is?
Will.
Hello, Will.
Will, why did you become a geek? What trigger?
Why did I become a
well,
geek?
what's your happy trigger? What turned you into a geek? What made you a geek?
Come on, you're part of the podcast now. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Will.
I used to play Hero Quest with my dad.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So, like, the first thing for me when I became a geek was watching Star Wars with my mum. She took me to see Star Wars when I was 3, right? What's your trigger, though? So, like, for me, the trigger is like when the Doctor Who music plays or whatever. What's your happy trigger? But playing Hero Quest with Dad is a great reason.
Yeah,
to
sorry,
get
that
into
was my memory. Trigger. Like, that's a tough one to answer. I literally run a Warhammer store these days. Like, I'm literally a geek full time.
Oh, that's even. And you're all from Hero Quest.
Yeah, all from Hero Quest. And now I volunteer at this festival. So I'm really sorry for interrupting the podcast. I have
We
to
love
keep
it.
going
No,
to
we
find
love
somebody.
it. Go.
I'm just trying to help.
Go
Do your job. Be a hero, Will.
Fly, geek, be free.
That was Will. Will's a hero. Absolutely. You did help.
Hooray!
Amazing. Whee!
Anyway, meanwhile, back at the podcast.
So, obviously, we'll edit out some of these bits and pieces.
Absolutely. We should not edit out Will. Will's great.
No, but we kind of was asking about them.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. Oh yeah.
Kit is going to have such a hard job
Yeah,
editing this
those
one
little
together.
animated kits that pop up in the YouTube, there's been loads of them in this section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be everywhere. So that was Vesper, which I agree, everyone should go and watch immediately.
Yeah, it's an interesting little apocalypse, and it's a small story, but it's beautiful visuals, really nice ideas
And
on
the
it.
dystopian part of it, I think, is the fact that it's a 13-year-old girl just looking after her father who's been injured during the war and can't look after himself. And that whole story arc about her responding with kindness to a terrible situation is really good. It's not really apocalyptic, it's just showing what society's like. Very cool. Apocalyptic shit, though. That's a good apocalyptic example film. Great one to kick off with.
Well, I mean, there's Mad Max.
Mad Max.
Yeah, I mean,
What's the trigger event for Mad Max? What's happening?
I think it's meant to be nuclear war. I think there was a nuclear war. What's that? I'm going to ask the audience.
Does it,
Nuclear war or just dystopian collapse of society?
oh, because if Mad Max turns out to be not post-apocalyptic, but actually
There's going to be
dystopian,
some rage quitting
there is going to be some
on.
huge rage
Yeah.
quitting going on,
All that tire armor is going to be in landfill before you know it.
including what Steven's wearing.
I'm taking it off right now.
No, I think it was meant to be a nuclear war.
Okay.
Okay.
I should know.
That makes sense. We should know that.
I don't.
And usually we'd have like the internet, I suppose. But here,
Yeah.
here in the,
There is no service here.
there's nothing. There's nothing. You have to like we have to get on the treadmills and pedal a lot.
If this,
One of the reasons we love post-apoc, well, we don't go to festivals and say like we go for a dystopian experience, right? I mean, no one out there goes to a festival for dystopian experiences today. Like, it's not what we do, right? That's really weird. But so for us, like obviously, we're sitting here in your kit, Mark, and I'll start with Ollie because Ollie's said a little bit of pieces and we're going to. But the reason, so the question we asked last week, what was your kind of, if you had to say your post-apoc thing, what you into, or what's it going to be? What were your?
Well, fuck.
Or one of the audience is shifting. Maybe they're going to make a run for it. We might have to throw bowlers around their legs.
What?
Nothing.
sit, stay.
I think, to be honest, I don't actually really know. Like post-apoc is like, I think overall it's the aesthetic. I love the aesthetic. I think it just looks really cool. Like I've played like bits and pieces of Fallout. I love Mad Max, but it's never been like, when I told people that I was coming to this festival and that I was going to be in this section, people were like, shouldn't you be in steampunk? Or like, shouldn't you just be like over with like the fantasy people? And I was like, well, this just isn't something that I've ever done before, you know?
I should say your outfits are so cool.
Thank you very much.
So cool. Thank you.
Hello,
Please,
welcome to our
what do you say?
podcast.
We're
Oh,
coming in.
Say hello.
Have a seat.
oh, okay.
People keep coming over to say hello to us because our kit's so wonderful. We're talking right now about what got us into post-apoc in the first place.
So what makes us run around in these?
Ollie's
Basically.
explained to us it's the aesthetic that makes
And it's the look of it. I just think it looks really cool. Like, I don't like, you guys like all the actual, you know, like Fallout games and all of
Yeah,
that
but
kind
I
of
like
stuff.
the aesthetic.
But I know you like the aesthetic. You make this shit. Thank you.
We're getting a lot of pull from the audience,
Well, to be honest,
which is just tripled in size.
it has tripled in size. This is great.
So what about you? What was your first?
What was my first?
Was to drive into post-apoc?
I think it had to be Mad Max was probably the first post-apocalyptic thing I saw. Although I mean, it wasn't really that apocalyptic at that point. I think it was possibly more dystopian. It was kind of, there was a collapse of society going on. There were road gangs, so maybe Mad Max isn't post-apocalyptic. Maybe it's post-dystopian. Is there such a thing? I don't know. Yeah, the audience is nodding in agreement. Some of them not.
They're questioning.
They're all puzzled. Anyway, but I think the thing which really got me into making stuff for this genre was Fallout. Having played Fallout 3 and then Fallout 4, and then I went to a Fallout-themed LARP. And that was the first time I started making costumes for this genre and just fell in love with it because it just works. It's the way I works within this genre.
Just interject for a moment, I think you can really see that as well because I've seen a lot of your kit. None of your kit is rubbish, but you can see a lot more kind of love in this.
That it's made out of rubbish.
Well, no, but there's a lot of love in this. You know?
Yeah,
There's
but
a
on
lot of-
purpose.
Yeah,
There's a lot of you in the kit more.
Yeah, I mean,
than the stuff you've done.
building for this genre just suits the way I work because I like that process of assembly. I also like the process of upcycling and recycling, repurposing. I mean, it's bizarrely enough, I did a lot of that on Doctor Who as well because of budget restrictions and everything and time. I had to repurpose stuff, and that kind of trained my eye, I think, a bit. And then when the apocalypse came along for me, I went, "Oh yeah, I'll have a bit of that."
I mean, yes, there's so much of it now as well. I mean, you've been to Mojave.
I've been to Wasteland Weekend twice.
Louder. His love of the games like Fallout and stuff really inspired his style. Well, now that's dangerous.
Yeah.
It's even louder. It's further away, but
Yeah.
louder. It's impressive. For me, just as for the benefit of those who want to hear it, but like post-apocalyptic for me was very much Fallout, right? So I jumped into Fallout 1 in the 90s, and then I played Fallout 2 and it was incredible. And then it was Fallout 3, 10 years later. And when I played Fallout 3, I mean, if you've played it, you know how good that game was when it came out and how engrossing it was. The storylines were everywhere. And the whole concept of like coming out of a vault, coming out of the remains of civilization into a world that had been repopulated by this whole dirty, grubby people digging through the remains of civilization was just incredibly cool. And there's such depth to the plot and everything as well. But I was saying to you earlier, I realised that watching the Daleks as survivors of the first their apocalyptic wars and stuff, that's quite post-apoc. Daleks are post-apoc. So many things that you wouldn't consider post-apoc have that vibe behind them, which I really quite like. Now there are dogs, so Holly's gone.
There's a tiny chihuahua and it's making the
There's a
smallest
lot of
noise.
chihuahuas
And
at
it's
this
trying to
event.
like, it was trying to go for like a really big dog and it was really funny.
So descriptions of your dogs are going onto a podcast. It's very exciting. What are their names?
Tia.
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 Hi, Tia.
Mary.
Tia
Hi,
and Mary.
Mary.
They're very happy.
Oh, they're stunning.
That dog was being really brave at the end of the day.
It was.
What led to them becoming geeks? What led to them becoming geeks?
The dogs.
Parents. Okay, so it's you that
Yeah.
made the dogs geeks. They've got lovely.
It's fair.
Yeah.
They got no choice.
Sounds quite accurate in some cases, to be honest.
So there we go.
Thanks, you guys.
Moving on. So that's my take. That's why I kind of went to Post Apocalyptic stuff. I think there's probably a lot more to it than that, really
Yeah.
speaking. I mean, obviously the big film, Battlestar Galactica, we were saying was an odd choice as well.
Well, you were saying that. I
It's
wasn't
immediately
following
after
up on that.
nuclear war, right?
Battlestar Galactica kind of
Yes.
covers the apocalypse and immediately afterwards.
You see the
Yeah,
apocalypse
but
happen.
my argument was you're not living in the environment of the apocalypse.
So you have to be in.
I think for me that distinction is that you are surviving within the environment created by the apocalypse, not hopping on a
All right.
spaceship and buggering off somewhere else because you've left the apocalypse behind. That's my
Yeah.
thought anyway. I think it's a survival thing. The post-apocalypse is survival. And I think that's why a lot of survivalists and preppers are kind of into this genre
Yeah.
as well.
Oh yeah, loads of them.
I think there's an appeal of it. I think there's the appeal of society having collapsed, all the rules having gone, and you're just rewriting the rules. You're not beholden to anybody else. You're just doing it for yourself, like sisters.
Sisters are doing it for themselves.
Exactly,
That's
that's
what
my
I've
point.
heard.
Yep.
I think I
Yeah.
might have written a song about that.
Maybe, mayhap. Well, look, a blessed moment of quiet.
That is nice, isn't it? Which
And now
brings-
we've
It
got
is.
nothing to say.
But now it's raining.
Well, it is the post-apocalyptic wastelands.
Nice bit of acid rain.
Yeah, not
So,
bad, not bad.
There's a lot of this reflected all around us. So, like, we're talking about it because we're in this camp, yeah, and it is definitely by far and away, without any shadow of a doubt, the most well-dressed and well-represented. I'm going to say faction because I'm kind of into my LARP, and that's kind of what I call it. But just the people sat opposite me who are just sitting on watching are in the best kit. Like, some of the best kit I've seen.
Oh yeah,
Some.
Yeah, some of the best kit. There's
Yeah.
a guy driving around on a massive machine from the 1890s steampunk world. I mean, that's pretty cool.
sure. Yeah.
Some of the best kit. And it's reflected all the way through this camp. I mean, there's so much effort and detail, and you can see the different reflections of, like, you know, Mad Max Road Warrior style stuff, with the fact that we've actually got cars here physically parked that are done up to the nines, you know, to look like
I
they,
bet as well.
they
like,
would belong in, you know, in Road Wars or whatever. And we look like we're from the Wastelands.
Well, yes.
And, you know, not a lot of people look like they're from the Wastelands. A lot of them look like they are from, you know, Mad Max or whatever.
Well, that's a beautiful thing about this event, which I'm really enjoying, is it's just all genres. So we have wizards and elves and mushrooms, a lot of mushrooms. for
so
some
many
reason,
mushrooms. If you're
wandering through the wastelands at the moment, and everybody seems to be enjoying it. And people are taking pictures of us while we're podcasting.
it's amazing.
Oh,
We're-
we're having podcast pictures.
Love.
No, this is that. No, do you have anything to say to our listeners?
We're
Hiya,
we're
yes.
recording.
I think you're all looking very splendid.
Look at this.
Well, thank you
Alright.
very much.
Very kind of you. Sorry, your name is? Maxie.
Oh,
Thank
he's
you.
also looking quite fabulous.
Absolutely fabulous. Love the green velvet.
Hi, Mark.
Beautiful.
Elfin Green. Hello, welcome to our podcast. We're recording it at the moment. That's all right, come and join in.
Oh, we tried to eat you earlier.
We did try
Yes,
to eat
you
you earlier.
We have just been approached by a mushroom, a glorious looking mushroom. Absolutely wonderful.
With some
And,
excellent tattoos.
Not edible.
And her dad, who's a fun guy too.
Hey.
the old ones are always the old ones. Yeah.
No one ever gets the my silliness
No
one,
one gets my
no.
silliness jokes.
I was,
You'd enjoy my silliness?
go on.
But that's it, my cilia. Fungus. Oh.
Mushrooms. Dare I
And
just
what
yell
inspi-
mushrooms really
what
loud?
inspired you to be a
There
mushroom?
we go.
They're very easy to make and look pretty good still.
Mushrooms.
Like,
Is
yeah,
this the question
Okay.
of why there are so many
Yeah.
mushrooms at the event?
pretty much. Yeah, like
And she's
That's
literally
it.
the same
You-
height as a mushroom.
You have seen there is literally somebody dressed as Mario out there.
I have not. I should watch out for that, actually.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't want to be jumped on.
I think there's watch out for small Italian plumbers.
I will keep an eye on that.
Always wise. Keep watching the skies.
How very Mulder and Scully of you.
Would you like to, if you're going to be like learning to make props and stuff, have you asked the questions? You're a geek, yes?
Yes.
You would call yourself a geek. Can you tell me like the first thing that happened in your life that probably led you down that path?
I'm trying to think of something, but I think it's just the fact that my parents are there, and you can't see them on your podcast, but my parents are like this and always have been. They just leave us.
Just now we asked someone the same question. They said playing Hero Quest with my dad. That's it, isn't it? Yeah.
Exactly.
If you've got the parents that lead you down that path, that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? Like, very supportive of what we wanted to try and do, and yeah.
Would you say you have a happy trigger? So like mine is like when I hear the Doctor Who music or whatever, things like that really kind of make the hair stand back, and I'm really excited to be a geek.
Yeah, the what a song as well. It's the I don't want to set the world on fire. Anytime I hear that,
that is a good answer.
I remember Dad giving me my first Fallout game.
Now, is it not such an iconic part of this world? Is I don't want to set the world on fire? Yeah, it is.
I guess it must be.
It's incredible.
Goes. No upside down pineapples.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's always lovely being visited by vegetation.
Yes, it is.
Are mushrooms vegetation?
We're going in a random direction pod, and I think we're happy with that.
I think we're actually all
Unless
right.
anyone has any questions from the audience, probably not.
I could step down from our huge stage and mingle in the audience and see if any of them have got any
There's so many
questions
of
for
them,
us.
Mark.
I know. Let me just take a couple of random ones at
They're not
random.
just sat in the rain and
Squeeze-
oh no!
If you can all budge up, then I can squeeze in here. Here I am, right at the back. Right, sorry, that was a long walk into the crowd. So, I have two people sitting next to me. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Shadow, otherwise most commonly known as Stick.
Hey, Stick.
Nice to meet you, Stick. And you, young man.
I'm Andrew. Hello.
Hello, Andrew. And what are you dressed as today?
A wasteland samurai.
And it's a very, it is in fact,
It is
in all
beautiful.
fairness, without joking, it's fucking
gorgeous.
awesome costume. And it's made out of Meccano, yeah?
Yes, entirely out of Meccano.
Yeah, this is a triumph of design and concept over sheer idiocy, because the amount of time it must have taken you to put this together is just mind-blowing. I mean, it's a gorgeous piece of work.
Hundreds of hours and nearly that long to get in and out of it.
How proud of you were doing it, though? How amazed that you got it done?
Yeah, really. And that's why I love doing this stuff. I like to scavenge and build stuff out of things you find, rubbish and kids' toys. That's why I like post-apocalyptic stuff.
First night when we first got here, and I was like, that sounds great. And then when you turn up and I was like, criminy.
Yeah.
And with the back panel and everything.
It's absolutely beautiful.
I feel like walking around with it, but it's worth the look. Worth it for the look, entirely.
And on it, you're on Instagram as well. So if people want to follow you on Instagram, what is your Instagram handle?
It's Disciple, but it's DPSIPLE, because I'm awkward.
Fair enough. Okay, well, I go and follow this man because he's a very talented maker. And over to Stick, I believe. What brought you into the apocalypse?
Tank Girl.
Excellent.
Tank Girl was my first experience in the
That girl
apocalypse.
dropped him off earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was dropped off by Laurie Petty. I have a tattooed on my left arm. Yeah, that was definitely the first experience I had in the post-apoc world. And then it would be the Fallout games.
Yeah, well, I think Fallout's got a lot to blame for all of us.
Yeah,
Lot to answer for.
100%.
Oh, well, thank you very much, both. I'll just make my way back through the
Bioshock,
crowd.
That's why I like post-apoc.
Bioshock.
Bioshock.
We're having a bit of a revelation moment now. What Holly is remembering.
Yeah,
Bioshock.
I like wet apocalypses. That's it.
Oh, we've got a wet apocalypse now.
I like wet
It's raining,
apocalypses,
by the way.
not the dry ones.
I must say we have picked. So I know you can't see all this, gentle listeners, but like we're sitting out in a little corner of a smallest stage here. There's
Surrounded
lights
by
everywhere,
people.
and
So many people.
It's raining and cables have not worked. Everything's gone wrong. We're on our phones doing our podcast, but we are fearlessly making our way through the pod, and we're getting very damp.
We are doing our best.
Moist.
It is very, very wet.
And our audience is brave. We'll give them stickers afterwards. You definitely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you should have some stickers.
So we've talked a lot about bits and pieces. I wanted to, to be honest, I really wanted to talk about things like Fallout and Bioshock and how more accessible the world of post-apoc has become via these games, I think, to quite a lot of different generations. And, you know, we didn't have films like, there were a lot of films in the teens when, like, zombies became a really big thing. Like, what's going on?
There's a battle, Elsa.
Oh, right, sorry, we're being distracted by a battle. This is another big problem for us being in this field, is that every time Holly sees something, we have to stop.
I'm so sorry.
Look at it.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, look, a squirrel.
I genuinely feel like I say I'm so sorry about 7 times on every pod.
There's an interview that we did earlier that you'll hear at some point, and at one point the entire interview stops because both myself as the recorder and Holly as the camera person and the person doing the pod all turn as a giant snowman walks across the field of our vision, and we won't stop.
We did. That was very true.
And a Christmas tree.
And a Christmas tree.
Which is quite unusual.
Yeah.
Anyway, so like in the teens there were a lot of zombie films, right? So things like Zombieland existed, and they're all right films. They don't really convey the message of, well, at least to me, of post-apocalyptic. They're just there to generate cash and be funny, right?
No, I think the zombie apocalypse is on the whole, probably most people's introduction to the concept of the apocalypse.
They've become quite comedic, the films, though. Zombies have become quite funny, I find.
Yeah, I mean, that's very difficult to do anything new with the zombie apocalypse. I mean, The Walking Dead did a fantastic job.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great
It was just a triumph, really, although, you know, some seasons were better than others. But I think the zombie apocalypse is almost a gateway apocalypse for a lot of people.
Gateway apocalypse.
Yeah.
I want my gateway apocalypse, please.
Yeah, well, I mean, how many zombie
zombie
films are there out there?
Oh, so many.
There are more zombie apocalypses than there are any other type of apocalypse.
They're so popular. I think computer games have got a lot of chance for, and that everyone loves getting zombies in computer games. It's a big thing. But when Fallout came out, and then that long kind of, I mean, there were survival games like Raft. Have you ever played Raft?
Yeah, I've watched you play it.
So that's an interesting kind of like apocalypse game where there's been an end of the world scenario, but as you say, you're playing kind of a survivalist kind of element to the game rather than anything else.
Yeah.
You're just trying to live through bits and pieces. Everything all right?
Everything's fine. Why? Why do you ask? We're at the end of the world. No, I was letting you talk.
So
I mean, I can interrupt if you'd like.
I think this is the other really weird thing for us.
I'm good at interrupting.
We don't usually sit like this. We're usually like kind of in different rooms, right?
Well, we're usually at different parts of the country, all on our computers. So it's really nice to be able to touch you. There's a very tactile podcast, this one.
Yes.
And I can wave at Holly and she can wave back, and it's like in real
Mark.
time and everything.
Yeah.
Damp real time.
So
Our audience are making touching signs to us.
We've touched the audience too, and not in a good way.
Their hearts and minds, nothing else.
Mark, put them down. And this is an interview that we did earlier with
Jules from Cosmic Workshop.
Hello, I'm Stephen. Hello, there's Holly. How you doing, Holly?
Hi, I'm good, thanks.
Excellent. I hope you can be heard.
Probably.
We're live at the very exciting Fantasy Forest in the post-apoc section. There's a lot of noise around us, so we may get interrupted by some battling guys from next door. There's some definitely marauding going on in church. And I'm here with
Jules from Cosmic Workshop.
Jules from Cosmic Workshop. And we are, as ever, talking about why people are geeks, what made them geeks, and, you know, what makes them carry on doing it, which is probably just like sheer willpower. Must carry on. And you've seen several guests before. We had Molinaris on the other week, and we had a long chat with them for far too long, like over an hour of talking to them about stuff. We didn't really talk about anything useful. I'm being told to get going. Get going, is that, or am I just being a bit strange? Get going, right, okay. And so we're going to kick off with the early question. So when you were young, when you were tiny, you thought to yourself, I'm going to be a geek. What was that? For me, as I've said to many people before, I went to see Star Wars with my mum, 3 years old, and I was blown away. What was yours?
In being introduced to films in general, I think my youngest memory is just rewatching the same films over and over again. I am on the spectrum. You probably will know that by the end of the interview. I can quote Beetlejuice word for word. So that was probably the first film that I used to get very excited about watching, no matter how many times. And then I moved on to The Mummy, and The Mummy has stayed with me through all 25 years, and it still makes me a giddy little geek.
25 years, that's the Brendan Fraser one then.
It is.
Everyone in that is sexy, right?
Oh, God, yes. There is not a bad piece of casting in that film, I'll be honest.
There you go. And then you move on for your life, and here we are right now. But on that journey, you've picked up kind of probably quite a lot of things that make you vibe well. I call them happy triggers for geekdom. So like for me, Doctor Who music makes me trigger happy. I am in a good place. Yeah. Happy triggers?
Happy triggers, probably good comics.
No,
I do love my comics, but I tend to be the comic geek that's into the comics that people go, huh, not really heard of that one. There's one called Chew. And have you? Oh my god, that's amazing. Yeah. And Johnny the Homicidal Maniac and Lenore, Fables.
Oh, we got Fables.
I do love Sandman, Lucifer, Preacher. They're the big ones. Yeah, absolutely.
Preacher is my favourite.
Preacher, they did such a good job of the TV series. Absolutely loved that. Yeah. See, I'll try not to rattle on.
No. These are the happy triggers we're talking about.
Yeah, loads of happy triggers there. So, and the other big happy trigger I have is Discworld.
Good.
I'm a massive Terry Pratchett fan.
I'm gonna go the correct.
And I cosplay as Cheery Little Bottom, and I also do Agnes Nutter from The Omens.
Love it, that's excellent.
Because I'm a pirate reenactor in my other disguises.
This is some full-on geekdom happening.
Yeah. Anything that got our creative juices flowing.
So we can get our creative flowing.
Yeah. Look how excited I am. My husband got into the pirate scene doing bits and bobs for himself. Fell into it accidentally, and so we both got involved with that side.
Supporting the pirates accidentally, always good.
Yeah, they're always good. So that's it.
Cool. And you've translated this into a passion that you represent.
Yeah, absolutely. I got dragged to cosplay by some friends.
Terrible.
How geeky I am. I'd never actually been to a Comic-Con, and they were just like, I was like, do you have to dress up? They're like, no. I was like, how do you go to Comic-Con and not dress up? Oh, what do I dress up as? And after I had a whole 2 weeks notice for this, before having to board the train to London, and I ended up going dressed as Hellboy. Because I love Hellboy. There you go, another happy trigger, Hellboy.
And great comics.
Yes, amazing.
BPRD, excellent stuff.
Yeah. And I'm actually friends with Duncan, who draws it, and Mike, who name drop. I say friends. Yeah, I'm friends with Duncan. I've met him loads. And,
nice.
He's an amazing bloke and an amazing artist.
Cool.
And, Mike came over to the UK a few years ago to Thought Bubble. So I went as the comic Hellboy rather than the film Hellboy, and he signed my jet backpack. And
very swish.
I was very geeked out that day, I tell you.
So cosplay making stuff. That's
yes.
How's it going here? You say have you done much?
We're here doing demonstrations for leatherwork, so teaching people how to do leatherwork and about leather, and getting people started on their own journeys. Really,
because really cool.
I'm an ex-secondary school teacher, so I love imparting wisdom, but. Adults are even better because they're better with sarcasm and random quotes that you throw at people.
Nice. So, you're right though. There's a lot of people walking around. So we're obviously dressed out to the nines, the best we can be. But you walk past a lot of people and they stop you and they want to take a picture and they're like, "How did you get all this stuff going on? How are you doing this?" We're like, "Well, we had it made for us, or we made it whatever." Because Mark, who hasn't turned up for this interview, Mark.
Yes, it was lovely to meet you, Mark. I apology for years. I was really excited to meet you.
Oh,
but that's fine.
We'll bring him round.
So when I did Hellboy for the Comic-Con, everybody's asking me who made the belt, and I was like, well, me. And that's literally how I ended up running a leatherwork business. I hyper-focused on leatherwork, kissed all my other past.
I'm supposed to be in school teaching. Am I?
Yeah, no, screw that. And I ended up doing leatherwork cosplay. I carved my niche out with cosplayers because that was my tribe.
Nice.
And I think that everybody needs to find their tribe, to find their happy space. Wherever that is.
This is a wonderful thing to be doing. We're really enjoying podcasting. So we go around and injecting ourselves into other people's lives. Even just for 5 minutes. It's wonderful. Just hearing your stories.
Absolutely.
Love it. Love it. I can't wait for other people to hear your stories. Right. So do you want to just give us a big plug as who you are and what you do?
Big plug. We create leather armour and accessories and whatever you need out of leather, basically. We're Cosmic Workshop, and you can find us at www.cosmicworkshop.co.uk or in the cosplay court if you're here at Fantasy Forest.
Lovely. Cool. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Nice to meet you.
And there you go, that's Jules from Cosmic Workshop. Pretty cool. I like that. That was good. What do you think, Mark?
I think that was excellent.
And here's the interview that we did with...
The author Tracy Carville from Smash Bear Publishing.
Hello, I'm Stephen. I'm here once again in Fantasy Forest in exactly the same place I was the last time you heard me. Isn't that fun? Holly's on the other side of the camera. Hello, Holly.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm
Comfortable.
exactly the same as I was the last time we had this conversation.
And I'm conducting some more exciting interviews about what makes people geeky. And it's still as loud. I think there's more noise, maybe. Is there more people drumming now?
Yeah, there's some pirate stuff.
Oh, there's some pirates happening now. That's very exciting.
We'll be good. If we did this at the expo, we can do it here.
We can do it here. Right, and I'm here with...
Tracy M. Carville.
And you, what do you do for a living?
For a living, I work in adult social care.
Yeah, there we go. Adult social care. But you're obviously a geek. I can tell by the headdress and the arms. All geeks have arms. No, maybe not. Who knows? I don't know. I am rambling. It's a good start to the interview. I can tell by the horns that you're a geek. So I'm going to ask you a few questions. We kind of went through this beforehand, but I'm going to say for the audience's sake that what makes you a geek? For me, being Star Wars, taken to by my mother, that's in wrong order, but who cares? When I was 3 years old, and that stuck with me forever, and it's like a thing that, Star Wars. And I've watched all of it now, from the beginning to the end, and then I'll watch it again, I'll do it again, because that moment dragged me down that road. What is it for you? Did you have a...
Well, I was a theatre kid when I was a bit younger, and I went to this amateur dramatics kind of group, and on one of the evenings some of the guys there were talking about a vampire LARP, and I was like, what's that? And they were like, oh, you wouldn't like it. So I went and asked somebody else, and they told me what it was, and they were running a game after like the youth meeting, and I just absolutely loved the sound of it. I was like, I'm in, I want to play this game. So they kind of rolled me up a character, put me in the game, and that was it. I was just in love. Just LARP. LARP is the way to go.
There you go. So we are LARPers, right? On the South Coast thing that we're doing a lot of LARPing over the years. Done some vampire myself, quite enjoyed it. Not as much I enjoy running around with the swords. That's kind of where my shtick has been. Now I'm here dressed like this.
I like LARP where you sit down.
Yeah.
Sitting down LARP.
Parlour LARP is where Holly finds her grace.
Anything with crinolines and sitting down.
But that's good, because LARP memories are ones that really kind of have a lot of passion in them, aren't they? Because like the scenes we create when we're LARPing do you have a favourite scene? One that you always tell a story about?
Oh,
Told you I'd throw you out questions that weren't prepared for, right?
There's too many. Okay, it is a vampire LARP story again. It was in Chislehurst Caves.
I've been
and it was, it was a big combat event, and I was playing a Toreador with Vampire the Masquerade, so very pretty, all about appearances, and I got attacked by a Zemitzi. I think I said that right. And they've got the whole flesh crafting powers, and they got me right across the face, and I absolutely just dissolved into hysterics because I was like, my face, my beautiful face. And the entire scene, for some reason, once all the enemies were dead, the entire scene just stopped around me, and everyone was like, oh no. But I got the face fixed in the end, so it was okay.
Nice. I love it. Just managing to stop show with, perfect. This is good stuff. And now obviously time has moved on since you first started LARPing and everything else. Do you have a happy trigger, as I call them, a moment when something happens around you and you're just descend into your geekness? For me, Sound of Doctor Who starting, when it came back in like 2000 whatever, I heard the music and I was just plunged into my happy place and very excited. Do you have one?
I'm, as you can probably tell, a big horror nerd. So things like the most recent one that I can think of is when Interview the Vampire, the series, came out, and I first got to watch it, and it was just, though they've made some changes, it was so atmospheric of the books, it was so beautiful, and just watching those characters and watching them evolve, watching Lestat come in, he's like my favourite character, it was just amazing.
So a lot of the pod we've done recently has been about how stories change, they move through medium, and how when books turn into films and films into TV shows and whatever, that we've spoken about that a lot, and that's really gorgeous to hear, because we've all found that some of it's a bit crap and doesn't really work out for a while, but when you find one that's just exactly what you want it to be, so good. And so this geekiness has led you into where you are now, and that's led you to a path of
writing. I'm an author now.
Look at that. How dreamtastic is that?
It's amazing, yeah. I've just had my debut novel published with Smash Bear Publishing, and they have a stall over here, which is why I'm here to promote my book and their books. And
So I'm just thinking with someone super famous now.
maybe in the future.
I'm going to treasure this interview. Have you done any other interviews?
Not yet.
Yes! First interview with super famous person of the future. This is quite good. What's the book called?
It's called Children of the Tithe.
Is it a horror story?
Yeah, it's a horror story about fairies and the apocalypse.
Look, Holly's face, you can't see Holly's face, but Holly's face is like this, but much more beautiful than I could ever achieve. But well, now I've lost my train of thought. Your face has made me lose my train of thought. It often does.
We need to stop this interview. I have to go and buy a book.
So how long have you been writing?
Since I was a kid, really. I think that's what got me into theatre, because I like the stories.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the chance to tell stories as well as read them, because I was always a really big book nerd. And then I went to writing my own stories, which led me to the theatre, which led me to LARP. So it's all a big circle, really.
Do you write your own events at LARP?
I've run a few, yeah, as part of a bigger game. I haven't run a whole game myself.
It's tiring, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's worth it.
Yes, yeah, it's absolutely worth it, but it's the hardest thing to do in LARPing is actually write and run an event. It's a nightmare. So writing, author, book, I think that's probably where we're going with that. Do you want to give it a big plug?
I'll do my best.
Synopsis.
The book is called Children of the Tithe. It's about some children who get mysteriously snatched away into fairy, and they have to try and find their way out. And in the meantime, everything is going wrong in the human world, and everything is coming to an end. That's pretty much what it's about. It's kind of got Peter Pan vibes. I've been told it's kind of Stephen King-y, but that's a little high praise for me to believe. But if that's what people think, that's amazing.
If the camera goes anywhere, it's because Holly is fledged by the book.
I love Stephen King.
Yeah.
There you go.
Me too.
Well, thank you very much for taking time to chat with us. This will go out on a pod very soon near you.
Lovely, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. There we go. Oh God, Holly's already got the book.
I do, yes.
What do you think, Mark?
I wish I'd been there.
Yeah, it looked very good, didn't it?
It did, yes.
And now it's time for another little cutaway section with a fabulous interview from Stephen with Ellen Lavery, who is an incredibly accomplished stilt walker and performer.
Hello, I'm Stephen, and I'm here as ever at Fantasy Forest. It's been a long 2 days. We're quite tired, but everything is still going strong. Stick is behind the camera. Hey, Stick. Hey, Den. You're looking good. I wish you could see Stick's makeup. It's incredible. But we'll get some pictures and put it up alongside this later on. But it's been a good couple of days. We're going to the end now, though. But everyone is still going. It's so busy still, isn't it? Busy.
It's
remarkable.
busier than it was yesterday.
I think you're right.
Hectic.
Well, I'm here with.
Hi, I'm Elle, or otherwise known as Ziggy the Sea Monster. So if you've been wandering around Fantasy Forest and you've seen an 8-foot tall sea monster with a lot of red hair, that's me. I'm a lot smaller in real life, as I've been told.
I would have been really surprised if you just walked in. You were like 12 feet tall. At least I know who you are straight away. You wouldn't be a stilt walker at that point either.
No, you tend to find that stilt walkers, we're all short. We've got small dog syndrome. That's why we walk on the stilts.
Fair. Right, so we're a geek podcast, so if anyone's watching, you should know the format. So we're going to ask you a couple of questions about why you became a geek and what got you into all this kind of thing. The first question, which we've rehearsed, because I hate dropping you in this, otherwise people are like, what? Is what was your first big geeky moment? What kind of led you down this path in the first place?
Well, I was doomed because I'm actually one of the very first people who is here because of LARP. My parents met in Chislehurst Cave, as I've told my primary school teachers, much to my parents' dismay. My mum found my dad under a rock dressed as a vampire covered in fake blood. And then they fell in love, and then I existed. So I have been doomed to be a geek from the very, very start.
That is a wonderful story.
Yep.
Especially my camera's so done. Especially being Chislehurst Cave, because that's Labyrinth, isn't it?
Yep. I've actually not LARPed there. I've been LARPing myself 8 years now. And I'm going to Chislehurst Caves in a month's time, and it feels a bit like a pilgrimage to my origin story in a way. So.
What year did they meet roughly? Do you know?
Well, it would have been about 35 years ago.
Right. Was I laughing in the cage 35 years ago? Probably was.
If you knew Septic Death, that would have been my dad.
Wow, what a small world. Yeah, so I was probably crewing for your dad.
Yep.
Or crewing alongside your dad.
And my mum was Krakatoa, so.
Blimey, it's a small world. Look at this. There we go. That's really cool. That's my history you're talking about as well.
You may have been at my christening. A lot of LARPers at that era were. So.
Wow, that's incredible. And so I was only 11 when I started LARPing, and that was in the 80s. So that's amazing. Right. Well, that bit of nostalgia aside, so that's where your geekiness comes from. But obviously, you picked out quite a lot of other geeky bits and pieces along the way. So, what's your big geek trigger? Like for me, I would say, as people have listened to this before, you know what I'm going to say. It's the Doctor Who theme tune always gets me kind of a little bit excited about. I love my hobby. I love my stuff. Sends shivers down my spine. Do you have a trigger like that? That's a happy trigger for geekiness.
For me, it's whenever I can get in the zone. Like I'm an active combatant. I love my swords. I love my quarterstaffs. If there's something with claws or beast-like that I can fight, basically if I can fight and if I can be violent, then that's my geek trigger to get in there. I've been described as the most aggressive pacifist alive, and that's me.
So what's your favourite LARP?
My favourite, that one's actually just come to the end of a run. I do a lot of stuff at Eversley for Feast Your Eyes and iLARP, and my favourite one was Legio Squire.
That looked very good.
Yeah,
they look very good.
I crewed all of that. I played a gladiatrix called Aqua, who I adored, and then I did their Nightmare horror event last winter, which was probably the best event I've ever been to, where I played Hydra, who was a gladiatrix. And she was Greek to begin with and had a beautiful scene with the Roman priest, which she was there at the statue going, I worship Diana, the goddess of the hunt, but I feel that this is someone we need to evoke, and we had a conversation about what's the Roman version of it, and then that dissolved into... Sorry, Diana's the Roman one. But we delved into her then sacrificing herself to Diana because werewolves attacked, and she was there going, if I'm going to turn into a werewolf, I want to be a beast of my god.
Lovely.
So yeah,
that's
lots
really
of blood
good.
Everywhere. It was really awesome.
That sounds beautiful.
Yeah.
Stick and I have LARPed together for 13 or 14 years now. And we only did grunts. That's what we managed to do. It's a great site though. Wonderful place to go and play. But yeah.
I live 25 minutes away. I have run there.
Wow. How far away do I live? An hour and a half away, so a bit of a distance for us. But I couldn't run there.
Yeah, I must say I did not LARP after I ran there. It was over 20 kilometres.
In 25 minutes?
No, I did it in about 4 hours. 4 or 5 hours. But my partner, who I adore, he was playing games there, and they're going, I've got nothing to do with my morning, so I'm just going to run and meet him there and then collapse.
Tremendously romantic.
Yeah.
I love that. That's very wholesome. I like the wholesomeness that you made Stick smile. That's rare. So tell me how this all...
Six is always smiling with this makeup.
That's grinning. That's different. So tell me how it's all led into stilt walking and stuff.
Stilt walking, that was actually at university. I love monsters. My favourite film since a very young age, being nerdy parents. My parents are geek snobs, so when I had interest in Twilight, they sat me down and showed me The Lost Boys.
As they should, right and proper.
The Princess Bride,
Right
Knight's
and proper.
Tale, I Can Joust, that was all down to that. But the stilt walking came from my admiration for The Dark Crystal. That was my favourite film, it still is. Henson puppets are phenomenal. I then went to Aberystwyth University. I studied scenography and theatre design course there, which was brilliant. It was a really wide range of things. We did costume, lighting, set, and sound in the first year, and then it kind of specialised into our third year. And our theme for the third year and my dissertation was a connection between monsters and the audience. And then they threw a random curveball in that we had to adapt around. That was David Bowie. I was planning on doing a Mabinogi on
very Welsh
Yeah,
folktale
yeah.
inspired monster that walked along the seafront there. And then they said, oh, it needs to be based off of David Bowie. And that was when I had there going, how do I do this? Labyrinth.
And the name Ziggy?
Yeah, the name Ziggy is because he has the same colour scheme and the same silhouette with the flares of Ziggy Stardust.
Awesome.
He also has David Bowie's eyes. One pupil is dilated and one is, yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So like obviously, guys, we've only got time for a short interview. You have to come on the show because like your story sounds like we could tell it for like months, not in 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
But do you want to tell us a bit like properly about what you do? Give us a good plug about what you do and where you want to do it, because people who listen to this and probably want you to come and entertain them somewhere.
I'm an actor performer. I have stage combat qualifications of the BADC. I trick ride. I'm like gagging to get on my first show trick riding. I'm not quite there, but I'm training as much as I can. So I hang upside down on horses. I do that at the Knights of Middle England. Yeah, if you want someone to be an immersive performer with beasts or fighting, I'm the person you come to. I'm on Instagram. That's probably the best place to find
Under what
me.
name?
It's Ellen_G for my middle name, and then _Lavery.
There we go.
And yeah, LAVERY. And I'm sure that you can pop it underneath.
There will be a big thing at the end as well.
Yeah.
But if people are listening to it, they'll need to.
Yeah. Ironically, my middle name's Grace. I'm the least graceful person you can find.
You sound quite graceful. So there you go. All of that and a wholesome romantic. I mean, that's perfect. Well, thank you very much for popping on, and we will absolutely want you back on the show to talk about it properly, because I'm sure once people hear this, they're going to be going, can we have them back on to do some more talking?
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm so sorry that I was hiding from the rain at 5 o'clock yesterday.
No complaints here. No complaints whatsoever.
It's been a brilliant event, and the wastelands look great.
Thank you very much.
It's my third year here, and it's like a really nice new zone to come
We are
in.
very much looking forward to coming back next year, and we've been told we can have much more space as well.
My
so we're
only complaint is that the Barbie box was quite a squeeze to get Ziggy in.
You've got Ziggy in the box. Blimey. There's a Barbie box there, guys, that you can just do the photo shoot, like from obviously when the movie came out. It's been full of wastelanders, monsters, zombies, ogres, and also a how tall?
7 to 8 foot.
7 to 8
yeah.
foot still. That's grand.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay, thank you very much. That's us done. So, out of the kit
Yes.
you've made, that's here.
Yes.
What's your favourite bit outside the one you're wearing? 'Cause you're going to say stuff you're wearing. What's your favourite one that you've made outside of the stuff you're wearing?
Well, I'm very proud of the piece I made that Holly's wearing, which was a piece that was made for Wasteland Weekend.
It's the most colourful bit of kit we've got.
It is. It is
As I
probably the
stand
most
out.
colourful. There's a Day of the Dead themed coat and hat and trousers that I made for Kat Mansell, who runs Sticks and Stones and Bones here, and I was very pleased with that one.
Interview with her tomorrow.
Yeah, we will get an interview with her, and I think, there's a Cthulhu helmet around here somewhere, but I don't
haven't
think
seen
that's.
it yet.
No, I haven't
No,
seen it yet
that
either.
guy over there is the one who'll be wearing it, the one that's back towards us there, but he'll be putting the Cthulhu helmet on.
Oh, cool.
And that always gets a bit of a interest.
I've seen it online, but obviously I've never seen the flesh. It's very good.
It's basically Cthulhu made out of gas masks.
Nice.
Very cool. Very cool. And Holly,
Yo,
you've done a lot of wandering about today.
I have.
And you've told me what your favourite kind of thing you've seen is.
Yep.
What is the best shop you've been to that you've been here? What is the one that you've wandered into and you've gone like, this is where I want to shop for the rest of my life?
Oh man, you see that's really difficult because there's one shop where I've been where I haven't bought anything yet, which is full of like sparkly Stetsons and vintage silk dresses and all of these amazing things. And then I've also been to a shop that sells mushroom printed clothing, which is just completely my vibe. And yeah, I mean, everything everywhere is stuff I want to buy, basically. It's just everything here is cool.
Mm-hmm. I don't disagree.
Yep.
I don't disagree. Okay.
For me, do you want to know what my favourite shop
Oh,
is?
God, no, I wasn't going to ask you that.
Is it
Fine.
Stick, Stone and Bone because they're selling your stuff?
Well, I mean, and plus her own stuff is gorgeous, but I think side by side with that would have to be Cowley's Jerky.
Oh yeah,
The
yeah.
jerky
Cowley's
shop.
Jerky's good.
Every time he turns up, it's like, give me jerky. So yeah, that would be my
Yep.
treat for this weekend.
Everybody loves jerky.
Yep.
I think finally I want to say on this particular venue so far, it's been a day and a night that we've been here. I mean, last night was great because everyone in the camp is friendly. The trade is a great fun to sit and drink with after like we're finished doing stuff. Everyone's been really helpful, so that was tremendously good. But the other side of things that I'm really enjoying is the fact that there is so much openness, happiness,
wholesomeness,
and wholesomeness. Particularly with the LGBTQ plus community that's wandering around here, there are people that are completely. There's no animosity whatsoever. Everyone's just
themselves, and it's nice in whatever in the best version of themselves that they can be. And there's like I haven't heard a single angry word or a single raised voice since I've been here in 2.5 days.
Yeah.
I haven't heard a single person be mean to another person. I haven't heard anything like, I've heard people being, like grumpy and sarcastic and British, but I haven't heard anyone about the weather, generally speaking. Yes, it's either too hot or it's raining. But I haven't heard anybody at all be mean, make snide remarks, anything like that you get just when you're kind of wandering around on the street and stuff. It's very safe, very wholesome, and everyone seems to be really happy.
I concur.
Despite the rain.
Okay, so we're not going to do like a really long pod today. With the interviews included, it's probably going to rack up to about 45 minutes because we're going to do another pod tomorrow at some point in the afternoon. Hopefully with a few more people here. So we'll give you our second day experience and talk a little bit more about some of the other camps rather than just focusing on Post Apoc. So yeah, thank you for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you all.
Yep.
That is an amazing hat. I'm very happy with that. That's really made my day.
It's a gorgeous hat.
Thank you for listening. I've been Stephen. It's been fun. And I wish you a very good goodbye.
It's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.
Power of the very damn twice goodbye. Much love, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello, everyone. It's me, Plague Mantle. A few weeks ago, we did competition with the excellent people from Molinarius Games to win a copy of their game, Shoal. Now, we asked you a question. That question was, what is the name of the shark in Jaws? And a whole host of you answered that question, Bruce, which is correct. I mean, technically, in the book or the film, everybody was named Bruce, but one of Spielberg's lawyers was called Bruce, and that's how the name kind of ended up being allocated to the shark. Now, we did a spinny wheel, choosy thing. It went round, it clicked on a lot of names, and the winner was Neil Gunfield. So congratulations, Neil. If you will send us your address, we will get Molinarius to send you over the game that you have so successfully won. And then you can play away to your heart's content. Thank you very much to everyone else that entered. We'll be running some more quizzes as soon as we can. And we've had a really good time running that one. So thank you very much. Bye! You have been listening to A Geek Tragedy with me, Plague Mantle, and my best friend, the excellent Holly Properly, and our actually famous guy, Mark Caldery. If you like this, there is plenty more at patreon.com/A Geek Tragedy. Production is by Kit Brutnell. Our logo and artwork is by markcaldery.com. Music is by Borislaw Kozielski. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at A Geek Tragedy. Email us at ageektragedypodcast@gmail.com. Subscribe, leave us a rating and a review. And don't forget to tell all your geeky friends. Also, a big shout out to all of our genius geeks. We adore each and every one of you. And of course, much love. Take care of each other.